I'm Chris Claremont, Vice President and Chief Technology Officer at Lone Star Title, and this is our Lone Star Title Tip of the Week. One thing I get asked a lot about is people having a slow computer. It's probably one of the main things we work on, and a lot of times it's just programs are being loaded. People don't realize when they go to a website, they sign up for something, there's little check boxes, and before you know it, you've got 4 extra programs added from just when you only wanted one. First, we make sure they restarted the computer, because a lot of people think you can just leave them on, but you need to restart it weekly. And then we'll go through the startup items, see what's loading when they start their computer, try and clean things up there. And then we'll check to make sure they're running their Windows updates, security updates, and that they have an active antivirus software. Another thing we find a lot of is people will start out with one virus product, switch to another, but not remove the original one. So having 2 virus programs can really slow down a computer. And then finally, obviously, we look at if they're backing up or what they're doing to protect their data on their computer. The biggest thing, obviously, is having virus software to protect the computer. And the second most important thing is running a malware scan with another product. A lot of people think their virus software is protecting them, but most virus packages do not pick up malware, spyware, adware, little programs that get loaded. But the number one program we use the most is a product called Malwarebytes. They have a free and a paid for version. Unfortunately, the free version doesn't actively scan the computer. It's something you have to run on your own. And then over the last several years, one of the biggest threats we've seen to home users and business users is a new strain of, it's like a spyware virus product. It's called ransomware. And what this does is it takes over your computer, it encrypts your files, and it blocks you access to pretty much everything on your computer, and it leaves you a pop-up message with a ransom note. So in most cases, I used to hear about this in the news, and then it started popping up around town in El Paso, and I was getting calls. And basically at that point, you cannot access your files, and there's no simple way to ever get the data. Some companies have tried to write decryption algorithms, and they've beaten some of the earlier strains, but most of the time you are completely unable to get to your data ever again without paying a ransom. They want it in bitcoins, and it's usually sent out of the country. So fortunately, the people I've worked with that needed their data back, they've had backups done. A lot of times the antivirus products are getting better, but I've seen people get infected even with some of the biggest brand name products out there, and they still get infected. And what I've found is mostly it's spread over email. So you get an attachment or a link and people click on it, and everyone says, well, I don't open stuff from somebody I don't know. Well, most of the time that works, but nowadays the hackers and that'll hack somebody you do know, and then they'll send out the email from them, so you'll think it's legit, you'll click the link, and the next thing you know, within 10-15 minutes your PC's pretty much useless. If you get an email that you're really concerned that whether it's legitimate or not, I would say open it on your cell phone, because most viruses will not infect your cell phones. They primarily affect Windows machines. Backups is probably the one most important thing you can do in today's era with all this type of stuff. Cloud backups have taken over the market. They're really inexpensive and they work great, because even if you have a total hardware loss, a fire in a building, your data is safe in the cloud. A lot of people ask me, well, it's in the cloud, can't anybody get to it? Well, it's possible, but most of the time when they hack, they're hacking your actual machine, because you won't be as protected as much as the online cloud backup providers are with their encryption. If I was a realtor or a small business owner and I was looking to back up my data, I definitely would look at Mozy or Carbonite as a solution. I always recommend people do 2 different backups, one to a local device, USB drive, thumb drive, and then the second backup to the cloud. So the most important things for a realtor or any small business to remember with their computers is to update your software regularly, definitely do your Windows updates, make sure you've got a firewall, install antivirus software, and then again, the most important of all the items is to back up your data. And sometimes even with the best efforts on computers, you're going to have problems and you're going to need a professional to help you get out of them. And we're always available at Computers Plus to give you a hand.